Hi everybody, I'm gonna show you how I make my delicious ground beef empanadas or empanadas de carne molida. And I'm gonna show you how to make them step by step. Let's get started. So I'm gonna start out by preparing my masa. This is the kind that I'm gonna use, the yellow Maseca. Now you can find it in a white bag or the gold bag. Now here in Ohio, I can only find this one in small bags like this. But you can use the white one or you can use the one in the gold bag. It doesn't matter. And I'm gonna be using 2 cups. So I've got 2 cups right here. Put them in here. And I've got 1 teaspoon of all-purpose flour. 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And I'm gonna bring them in together really good, because you want to make sure that they get distributed really evenly. Okay? So once you bring it in together really good, now I'm going to add my water. I'm going to start out with 1 cup and 3/4 of warm water. I may just use 1.5. So you want to do it slowly, a little bit at a time, and work it. Just like this. See? And work that little bit. Then a little bit more. Now I know that here in Ohio, I use less water than I do in Texas. Now you want your masa to feel like modeling clay. Kind of moist and easy to work with. Not very wet and not too dry. Now I want to knead it really good, because you want to make sure that it's all evenly moist. You don't want any dry spots. Now once I have kneaded it really well like this, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vegetable oil. That'll keep it nice and moist. I'll just drop it in there and continue kneading it. So I'm done kneading it very well. See? This is exactly what we want. Now I've got a piece of saran wrap. I'm just going to wrap it up to keep it moist. You don't want it to dry up. Just like this. And I'm going to put it back in the bowl and I'm going to set it aside until I'm ready to use it. So I've got 2 small poblano peppers. And I'm going to be roasting them because I'm going to use them in my filling. Now, if you don't want to use poblano peppers, you can use the orange, yellow, or the green bell pepper. Or you can leave them all out. So I'm going to go to the stove and roast these. Now, I have already removed the seeds from my peppers, as you can see. See? I think it's easier like this if you remove all the seeds and then roast them. Now I'm going to go ahead and roast them on my stovetop until they're real nice and charred. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat. And as you can see, they're real nice and charred. That's exactly what we want. I've got a small Ziploc bag. I'm going to go ahead and put them in there because I want them to steam really well. So I'm just going to zip it up and I'm going to set it aside until I need them. I've got my heat set on medium and I'm going to spray a little bit of non-stick spray. Just like that. And I'm going to add my ground beef. I have 1 pound of 80/20 ground beef. Now you can use lean ground beef if you want, but I like the 80/20 because of the taste that it gives. So I'm going to brown this meat until it loses most of its pink color. So while I'm browning my ground beef on the stove, I'm going to grind my spices. Now right here I have 1/2 teaspoon of peppercorns. See? 1/2 teaspoon of whole cumin. 2 large garlic cloves. And 3 pimenton. People call them pimienta gorda. They're allspice. So I have 3 of them. I'm going to go ahead and put them all into my molcajete. Just like this. I'm going to put in a little bit of salt. And I'm going to grind them up really well. So I have ground these up really well, as you can see. I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of water, just to bring it all in together like this. And that's good. I'm going to go ahead and set it aside until I need them. Now, as you can see, my ground beef has lost almost all its pink color. I'm going to go ahead and move it aside so that I can remove all this grease that it has rendered. I don't want it in here. Now, I do use the 80-20 because I like the flavor. But I always remove the grease. See? And here we are. I've removed all the grease. Now I've got half of a small onion right here. I'm going to add my onions in there. I've got 1 medium carrot, and I have cut it up into small cubes like this. I'm going to add my carrot in there. Now I'm going to toss it around until my onions get slightly translucent. So now that my onions are slightly translucent, I'm going to go ahead and add my tomatoes. I've got 1 large Roma tomato in here. And I have 1/3 cup of water with 2 teaspoons of beef bouillon. I'm going to add them in there. This is the beef bouillon that I'm using. See? 2 teaspoons. And I'm going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to bring it in together like this. Now, you don't want a lot of water in here because remember that we are going to fill our empanadas. And if it's very soupy, it'll all be seeping out and you'll have a nice big mess. So now that I brought it all in together, I'm going to add my spices. See, there they go. Now these spices is what's going to make this meat filling taste delicious. See? And I've got my heat set on medium-low. I'm just going to let it continue simmering like that for about 15 minutes without a lid. I usually wait till the very end to add my poblano peppers because I like for them to be a little bit firm. Now, if I add them right now with the rest of the ingredients, they get really mushy and I like the firmness of them. So I usually wait for the very end. Now it's been about 3 or 4 minutes. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my poblano peppers. Now I'm going to toss them all together. This would be a good time for you to taste it and adjust your salt. And I'm going to go ahead and let it simmer like this about 12 minutes or so until all that liquid is gone. And then we'll go into the next step. So it's been 15 minutes. As you can see, there is no more liquid at the bottom, but it's still very nice and moist. I'm going to go ahead and remove it off the stove. I'm going to put it into this bowl and we're going to get ready to make our empanadas. So we're ready to make our empanadas. I've got my tortilla press here and I've got my oil getting hot on the stove. Now in my tortilla press, I usually keep 2 pieces of plastic like this. This was a Ziploc bag and I just cut them round like this. And I always keep them here, and when I'm done, I wash them, let them dry, and put them back. You can use any kind of plastic that you want. Now I've got my masa here. So my masa is nice and hydrated. See? It feels really good, just like modeling clay. So I like to do 2 empanadas at a time. Now you can make them all and set them out on a tray and cover them up. But I just feel that by the time you get to the last one, they dry up. So I like to do 2 at a time because I can only fit 2 in my skillet anyway. So here's one. I'm going to go ahead and make another one and have it ready. Now I usually make them a little bigger than a golf ball. See? About this size right here. And always keep your masa wrapped until you're ready to make another one. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this piece of plastic on top and press it down just like when I make tortillas. Just like that. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the top, and I'm gonna add my filling. Ooh, my filling, look at this. Looks beautiful and smells delicious. So I'm gonna put in about 2 heaping teaspoons right here in the middle. Now you don't wanna add too much, because if you add too much, then it'll seep out on you. And I find that 2 teaspoons is about right. Now I have a piece of Monterey Jack cheese here. I'm gonna add some. Now I like to add slices, because if I grate it, it gets a little messy. So I'm gonna add cheese on some, and on some I'm not. I'm just gonna put 2 pieces of cheese like this. Make sure your filling is right here in the middle like this. And then I'm gonna bring it over and seal it. Bring it over to the edge. Just like that. And then you wanna press it down all the way across. You want to press it all the way to this other end like that. And make sure that it's nice and sealed. See? Then you just open it up. And here it is. See how pretty that is? Just make sure that it's sealed really well. Just like that. I'm going to go ahead and set it aside. And I'm going to roll this other one. Press it down. See? Add about 2 teaspoons heaping right here. It's like that. Now you want to bring it over and seal it. Press it down all the way to this other end. And make sure that you just run your finger through it. Make sure that it seals real good. Now that's one of the reasons why you want to make sure that your masa is not too wet. Because if it's very wet, it'll stick on your plastic and it'll fall apart when it's frying. So you want to make sure that it's just like modeling clay. Firm, but real nice and moist. See, so after you check it and you know it's sealed really well, it's real easy to remove the plastic. You see? So I have 2 ready. My oil is nice and hot. So now we're ready to fry these. I've got a little piece of the masa. I'm going to go ahead and drop it in. Now you want your oil to be hot enough to where you'll get a good boil like that. Because if it's not that hot, then your empanadas will get very greasy. I'll remove this. Now I'm ready to put my empanadas in. See? I'm going to drop them in very carefully. And I'm going to put in the second one. Just like that. And you're going to let them fry like that until they're golden brown from that side before we flip them over. So these are ready to come out. See? And this is where I'm going to place them, because I don't want them to get very soggy on paper towels. So I'm just going to put them over here. See how pretty these are? And I have 2 more here. And I'm going to drop them in slowly. And I'm going to continue doing this until I've got them all done. So my ground beef empanadas are ready. As you can see, I was able to make 9. And I also have a salsa de molcajete. I love this with the beef empanadas, as you can see. But you can make any type of salsa that you like. And I also have guacamole. It's a perfect combination. So I like to put my guacamole with every bite. Mmm. Now for the taste test. Mmm. Oh my gosh. Mmm. See? So these are my ground beef empanadas. If you like my video, give me a thumbs up. Send me a comment and tell me what you think. And subscribe if you haven't. And share with your friends. Thank you.